I am speaking with.
Jason Calacanis again at the second Future of Web Apps Future Insights Live in Vegas, back-to-back years, 2 for 2.
Excellent. Hey, loved your presentation last time, but this time I want to talk about, well, your presentation, which is about the pivot, the major pivot of Mahalo. Explain where you were and what happened.
Well, about 5 years ago, I started Mahalo and wanted to try to innovate in the search space, which was a pretty big departure for me because I've been a content guy my whole career, having done magazines and blogs and conferences. And I was attracted to search because it was a big problem, and I thought humans would play a major role in search, which interestingly did turn out to be the case, although it was more from a social approach as opposed to a curated editor approach. But putting that aside, we had what I would say is the worst thing an entrepreneur can have, which is moderate success at human-powered search, which was the concept was links and content together. Wikipedia plus Google equals Mahalo. And we became the 140th or 50th largest site in the United States, 15 million uniques, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue a month. But it kind of stalled and it wasn't growing. And
Well, why don't you think it was growing?
well, it wasn't growing like a hockey stick. It was growing very slowly, and competitors were catching up. So Google, was starting to change their 10 blue links to something more than 10 blue links, and really because of Bing, which had really started to innovate on the UX side. And I got the sense that we were outgunned, and that it was just, after 2 or 3 years of trying, it was too hard to make a better product in search that would lead consumers to switch. You could make a better product that a sophisticated user would say is 10, 20, or 30% better, but my belief is in order to get people to really switch from an incumbent that's good or great or excellent, like Google is, like Yahoo was, or Bing is today, it requires you have to, be twice as good, 3 times as good to get people to switch. And then the Panda update happened, and that was Google's big chance to say, hey, we don't want any content sites to be too big, so all content sites are going to be smaller and we'll have more diversity in search results. What that meant for somebody who was very large at the time was we would lose half our traffic, 2/3 of our traffic. And when I saw that happen, I said, you know what, I'm tired of playing the SEO game, and we need to find another place to exist as a company. And that place I pinned as education, and either on apps or in video, because what we were doing was really trying to get people to information they could trust. And what we found was there's not a lot of trustworthy information out there, and a lot of the best teachers haven't been captured and actually put into an app or put onto the internet. And so we thought we'd spend our time there. And
So hold on, let me ask you a question. When you made the pivot from search to video, and I'm assuming this is where we're going, how do you communicate that to your staff? Like, okay, guys, everything's changing.
yeah, I brought everybody in a room and said everything has changed. We need to pivot hard. By the way, this 1 out of every 4 employees who you really love working with is no longer going to be here. And part of entrepreneurship is knowing when the party's over and getting to the next beach to surf on. Tide is gone. There's no waves here to surf. We need to find a beach that has surfable waves. And I just said it that frankly and bluntly. And I said my belief is apps, mobile, social, video, education are the future. Let's pursue that. And we took some of our videos and built them into courses, and we took those courses and built them into apps and built them into iBooks. And lo and behold, after 6-7 months of trying, we had 1 million downloads and 6 figures in revenue, and most importantly, net promoter scores that were positive. People reviewing the app were giving them 4 and 5 stars more often than they were giving them 1 and 2 stars, which leads to the handgun histogram, which I'll talk about in my discussion, which is when you have more 5 and 4 star reviews than 1, 2, and 3 star reviews, people make a snap purchase in the App Store. Or they may make that same decision in Amazon or with a one-click buy. And so I'm going to talk about the Age of Excellence, which was an email newsletter I sent out on MailChimp just 2 weeks ago. And my belief is the age of good products being good enough to build a business is over, and really everything's going to, the winners are going to be more polarized, the losers are going to lose faster and harder, and it's going to be based really on product. We have this incredible product transparency that didn't exist just 10 years ago in the marketplace. The marketplace was largely driven by distribution deals, celebrities, advertising and marketing, things like that. And now, paid search. Now, with these extraordinary rating systems and fluid ecosystems like the App Store or Yelp or Amazon or blogs and Twitter itself, the transparency is causing products to rise and fall much faster, much harder. So you see amazing things like OMG Pop and Draw Something and Instagram, and then there are 15 or 1,500 or 150 competitors down the long tail who would never even be recognized or get any downloads.
So are you now seeing yourselves as the ones to create those products or the ones to essentially be the arbitrator of those products, kind of like the way the Apple iTunes store is?
No, we want to actually make the product. So we're making courses like Learn Guitar or Learn Premiere or Learn Pilates, and then putting them in 5 or 6 different locations and seeing which ones monetize best. So that includes iBooks, iPad apps, iPhone apps, Android apps, the web itself, YouTube, and eventually television sets. And we believe that if we create these courses for $7,000 to $25,000 each, we could recoup that amount of money in a short period of time. Under a year, under 2 years, and then own those courses for all history. And it's sort of like a next generation for Dummies or Wiley or Meredith kind of a company, except it has engagement. So it would be the equivalent of, let's say, what Zynga did for games, for casual games, we're going to do for education.
Last question. There are so many companies that just, when they realize it's not working, they just fail and close up shop.
Yeah.
But you chose to pivot. So when do you know to just close up shop, and when do you know to pivot?
Yeah, it's pivot or persevere. Giving up is never an option in my mind. So really it's, do you persevere or do you pivot? And when persevering can sometimes be a great idea. You know, a lot of great products get made in the 30th or 40th iteration. Angry Birds was the 50th product by Rovio, and Draw Something was something like the 30th product by OMG Pop, which had just laid off half their employees, and then all of a sudden had an overnight $200 million sale. So persevering is virtuous in a lot of cases. However, persevering when the market evaporates for a certain product, and you've seen every other competitor die, it might mean it's time to pivot. And it's also a personal thing. You know, if you're just absolutely frustrated and can't figure out the solution to a problem, you're not motivated to do it anymore, which was the case for me with Search. I was just like, you know what? I don't think the world really needs what I'm making. And that's the ultimate test. Do you have founder market fit? People talk about product market fit. That's one thing, and I'll talk about that in my talk. How well does your product service a market? MailChimp services people who want to send email perfectly. But then there's founder market fit. How much does the founder want to have these customers? How much does the founder want to work in solving this problem? And I think I have founder market fit now, which I didn't really have when I was doing Search. So that feels good.
Jason, thanks so much for your time.
@Jason on Twitter. Follow me. I need more followers.